This is where we start looking at past papers, and we start looking at how we can just do all this. So this is something we've done. And the first one is the page size. So let's talk about the page size in document production. So this is chapter 17, document production. Right. Document. So let's talk about the page size. Now, the page size is A4. Please take note. The page size is A4. So right here, I think I can close this. So under my layout, you have your page size. It should be to A4. Okay. So my page setup, and it needs to be in A4. Then my margin. Top, this top, bottom is here, left is here, right is here. So our default is 2 centimeters across board. Orientation, we have two types. We have portrait and landscape. Take note, portrait and landscape. There's one more I want to talk about. Yes, gutter. Yes. Now, what's a gutter? Now, you see that at default, the gutter is what? Left. And there's no size applied to the gutter. Now, what's the gutter? Now, the gutter, right? This is an area outside the margin that is used to bind the books together. Now, when you have a gutter, right, it really means that these are spaces that will be assigned for binding. If you've seen your textbook, you probably know that there are spaces assigned to it. So when you're printing, there are spaces that are assigned. So whatever you're printing to only within the margin, not outside the margin. Make sense? So only within the margin. Okay. So only. Okay, I have it here. So let me just close it. So you're printing only within the margin. So all this right here, okay, will not be part of it. So when you're printing, there's another space that has been assigned, right? There's another space that has been assigned where you can actually do what the gutter. So here we do not apply any gutter. But if I want to do this, watch what happens. Let's apply a gutter. Can you see now? This is where we're going to square bind our work. These are the spaces that you can work with, and these are the extra spaces that will not be there, will automatically what adjust itself. So if I make this 2 centimeters and I apply it, watch what happens. Can you see? So this part is the part that you cannot modify. This is the part that you cannot hover on it. You can work with this part, and this is for printing. This is for what? For binding, rather. This is where you can bind yours. When you print your work, it's easier for you to what? Bind. So people who are selling books, they usually add what? A gutter together. Usually gutter is just like 1 centimeter, right? 1 centimeter. At least 0.5 or 0.5 or 1 centimeter is fine, because this space is enough for you to what? To bind your work. Okay? So that's fine. So hope that makes sense. Because again, they have not brought anything about gutter, and you might be asked in your, because it's there in the new syllabus. Okay. All right. I've talked about to edit header and footer. Okay, so that should not be tedious to do. Again, purpose of setting page section column break. Now, the whole essence of the page break is so that we can properly remove the whole essence why we have to remove the page breaks is so that we can have a control of our windows and offense. Okay, so page break talk about a force instead to start on a new page while leaving white spaces at the end of the previous what page. Column break is used to force the text into the top of the next available column. Then when we add a column, sometimes it can be 2 columns, 3 columns, we'll now have a column break. So it's going to force the text into the top of the next available column. Right? Section break. We can split the area of the document into various layouts. For example, one layout can be A4, the other one can be what? Landscape. All right. So the next one I want to talk about is, of course, talk about orientation, right? Portrait and landscape. One thing left to talk about. Okay, again, when we are doing our columns, let's talk about the columns. Column breaks. This whole thing right here. Let's talk about it, right? And I want to explain the one that talks about line between box to what? To place the vertical. So this is very, very important. So please, let's pay attention. So let's say, for example, I want to do a column break here. So let's say I want to do a column break. Okay, so many. What do I use? Okay, let me do this. So let me reduce the font size. Let me reduce it so it can make more sense. And I can just do equals to rand. That's the formula to get in extra text. Okay, so now I can highlight this. I'm not going to add the space. Shift our left. So layout, column, more columns. I have my what? My column breaks. So I have 2 columns, and the spacing, I can just say, okay, 1 centimeter. Now, if I add a line break, what happens? If I add a line break, what a line between is going to show a line. So the whole idea of this, when you add a line, is to put a line here between the columns. But usually you don't. This is a question that you can be asked in your theory paper. Okay, and this is something I asked year 9 in their exam that they wrote. Perfect. Okay, so how do you do this? Now, in fact, I gave writing a school project, doing a school project, and the question is, they said, describe the steps that Iyanolowa took to improve the layout of the body of the text. This is chapter 17 altogether. Most of them, they struggle with this. Most of them, okay, fine. So once you highlight the text, okay, and then you add numbers of columns and the spacing, then you tick what? The line between. Okay, so you tick what? The line between. This is very, very important. So if I tick the line between and I have this is going to apply to selected text and of equal column width. What do I have? Now I have what? The line between. So now we have what happens, which is similar to what the question that was asked to them. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, so hope this is explained. Okay, so when you see it, you don't panic. Format text, we talked about the formatting. There are 4 types of alignment: left, center, right, and fully justified. The keyboard shortcut is, in fact, this was a question. I think I asked them this. It's right here in their exam. Okay, good. So this was right alignment. This is justified. This is hanging. This is hanging. No, this is first line, and this is indentation. Okay, indented paragraph. Okay, although if it's the first one, that can be hanging, so you need to know that. Okay, so yes, I like playing with questions a lot. Okay, and I'm going to play with a lot of questions in your exam as well. Play a lot, right? So again, single, we've talked about the line spacing, single, 1.5 and double. Okay, tabulated settings, that's indentation, right? You can indent it as much as possible. And this is possible with using your paragraph. We've talked about it. Your paragraph under the indent, or right here, you can come here, you can see the indent here, and you can indent it, or home here. This is for the text, usually. That's for the paragraph, and you can indent each of them the way you want it to be. Okay. So here we're seeing a lot here. So this is for indentation here. What else? Okay. So we've talked about how we can convert text to tables. So still the same thing, please. We can also use dash. We can also use arrows as well to convert them to tables. So also do not panic about that. Okay. So here we can have tabs. How we can do that in our tabs. So all you have to do when you go to paragraph, you go to tabs, then you can now insert the tabs you want to give to it. Okay. Now to explain all this is bold, italics, underline, subscript, and superscript. I'm going to explain what this is. So let's say this is for math now, right? Mathematics, right? So we have, okay, let's do this. Let's solve a little bit of math. We have 2x2. So let's say we want to make this a superscript or power, what you call. So right here, we call it what? This. So this becomes what? Power. And let's say we want to make undo. Let's say we want to make the x2 to be base. This becomes subscript, so we have it here. Okay, so that's very important. So we have the create and edit list. We've talked about the list. Add and delete bookmark. How do we add and then how do we delete bookmark? So again, bookmark is more like a link, areas of where you can find your document. So what I want to do is, let's say I want to bookmark save time. I'm going to insert this and pretty much this. I want to bookmark the whole of this. So if I come here, I think we should have enough. Minutes, what's happening? So this is save. Yes, so save time. Just save, right? So I have this. So this is a bookmark of it. So for example, I want to make a reference to this, right? I have my bookmark here. So if I click on save and I click on go to, I have it here. Now this is very, very important. Let's say, for example, I'm right here and I go to my bookmark and I click on my save and I click on go to. What happens? It takes me what? Right here, because this is what? Bookmarked. Okay. Okay, so that's very important. How to find and replace is very important feature that you're going to need in document production. To find and replace, you come to editing, find, and I can just search for save time. Does it save time? Yes. So no, the other one, right? So I have it here, and then I can close, and then so that's it. Control plus F is Control F is also the keyboard shortcut to find it, or click here in your home, editing, and there you have it. All right, delete a bookmark is still very not difficult. Now, again, for bookmark, it does not accept space. So if, for example, I want to delete this, I'm going to click on delete and that is done. So the bookmark is gone, right? If I want to highlight this again, and I want to not link, I want to add a bookmark, I can do save underscore time, and I can add to it. Okay, add to it. Hyperlinks. So far, we've not seen hyperlink in past papers, but it's not out of place that you might ask it in your own time, right? So to, let's say save time is what? Ajiro Tech, right? Save time, right? Ajiro Tech save time. So insert links. I'm going to insert link. And let's say I want it to be a web page. So save time. This gives me just at Ajiro Tech, right? So I have this, right? So I have this. So anytime I want to hover on it with my control and I click on it, what happens? It goes to the web page, right? If I click on it, what happens? It goes to that web page and then it loads, right? It loads it, and that is another way we can add the hyperlink to it. Okay, so that's another way to add the hyperlinks to it. Okay, so I have this, right? So go back and we have this. So it's very, very important to do that. If you want to take a screenshot of your hyperlink, okay, of your links, again, you can right click on it and then go to edit hyperlink. And then you can take a screenshot of it. The same thing with presentation, right? It's the same thing with presentation, right? So the same thing with presentations. All right. Okay. Again, you can place anywhere in the document, inserting to tables, removing hyperlinks. How do you remove hyperlinks? The same thing, right? You can just right click on it and then remove hyperlinks. That's simple. Okay, so that is all. We've been able to scan through of our documents, sending emails, the same thing, bookmark, and how we can do that. Again, we talked about the bookmark that you have to use an underscore. So we are done with the theoretical part of document production. Again, 3 topics that we have covered: chapter 13 layout, chapter 14 styles, and chapter 17 document production.